The top 11 frequently asked questions about loan modifications. Number 1, what is needed for me to start the process of seeing if I qualify for a loan mod? Well, that can vary. The law firms that we use have a 35-question survey that I fill out for you online, and we generally hear back within 48 hours, but they are getting busy. It can take a couple more days than that, and there is no cost or obligation to find out whether or not you qualify. Question number 2, how long does the loan mod process take? Well, national averages for homeowners that do their own can be about 6 months, and I've heard of them over a year. The law firms that we use, because law firms get through to banks faster than me and you, are usually 30 to 60 days from start to finish on the process. What are the typical success rates for me doing it versus someone else doing it? Well, unfortunately, the national averages for homeowners that negotiate their own loan modification is within 12 months, 80% of them are yet again delinquent. Using a professional service such as the ones we represent, that is cut in half. It's not perfect, but you have twice as good a likelihood of them being able to negotiate a loan mod that is acceptable and that you can live with. I love this question. Why would a bank do a loan mod, especially if you're current? Well, it's because banks have finally awakened to the fact that they are by far better off working with an existing homeowner on restructuring or redoing or modifying, whatever you want to call it, an existing mortgage so that they don't have to go through the foreclosure process. So they recognize financially they are infinitely better off dealing with you and me, the homeowner, than spending 50 grand doing a foreclosure and then hope they can find a new buyer. Next question, what if you owe more on your loan than your home's worth? Will they reduce the principal? Well, this doesn't happen often, but it can happen. It's on a case-by-case basis. It's also on a bank-by-bank basis. So there is no straight answer to this. Can they do it? Of course they can. They're the people that loaned you the money. I love this question. Why do some companies charge upfront fees and some don't? Well, let me start by saying the law firms that we represent, and there are 9 of them right now, none of them charge upfront fees to evaluate whether or not they will accept you. If you go with another firm, I would suggest this be one of the questions that you ask, and if they say, oh no, you've got to give us a $1,500 submission charge, that would be a red flag for me. If they aren't confident to evaluate you before they ask for their fee, there could be something to look at there. Speaking of fees, what are normal fees if you are going to let a professional firm do this? Well, if you're using a law firm or group of law firms, I've seen anywhere from $2,500 to $5,000. If you're using an individual, it could be 35 cents. I mean, it's all across the board. There are individual people that are simply doing this, and you can certainly do it yourself, as we discussed in an earlier video. However, if you're using a professional service that does this for a living, does it professionally, you're generally looking at somewhere between $2,500 and up to $5,000. What is the advantage to using a company that has attorneys negotiate with me or for me with a bank? Well, this is really important, and the obvious answer is that when a law firm calls a bank, they get faster response than you and me. The other thing is that because the law firms deal with banks and same banks on a regular basis, they recognize what the parameters are for what's acceptable. I'll give you an example. We just had a case where I think it was Idaho or it could have been Iowa, I don't remember. But the homeowner had not made a payment for 11 months, had penalties and interest all stacked up. He owed over $70,000. The law firm was able to get the bank to waive every dime of that and get the mortgage interest rate down from, I think it was 6.5 down to 4.25, and ended up saving him $1,600 or $1,800 a month, and also $70,000 or $75,000 in past due amounts. So, attorneys, don't really care for them generally, but this is one case where, well, I'm sure glad they're on my side. Why do some companies offer guarantees and some don't? Well, again, firm we use, a money-back guarantee. If the law firm is unable to negotiate a loan modification for you, they will give back all of your money. When you're looking for a company to represent you, if they don't offer a money-back guarantee, there's got to be a question as far as their ability to do this successfully. So I would, that again would be a red flag for me. If you have to be employed to be eligible for a loan mod, well, actually, there are cases where banks have accepted unemployment as income for the loan modification that they accepted. So generally speaking, it's certainly helpful if you're employed, but it is not mandatory. And the nice thing, again, about the firms that we represent is it doesn't cost anything to find out. It takes about 15 minutes, and within 3 or 4 days, we know whether or not you qualify before you have spent a dime. So, pretty cool way to do it. And our final question in this series, can a loan modification be done on an investment property? Yeah. Yes, it can. Banks recognize that if a guy has 5 houses, only one he lives in, and he can't afford a payment on his home, there's a good chance he may be in trouble on the other ones. So they stand to get 5 homes dumped in their portfolio, which they don't want any of, rather than just one. So they are waking up and recognizing that just because you're not living in the home, that they still need to look at those and evaluate them. Again, there's no cost to find out whether or not you qualify for a loan modification, regardless of what type of property it is. This is all of our direct contact information. This is one of our websites, Loan Mods R Us, with little dashes on either side of the R, kind of like Toys R Us. 9 law firms nationwide handle the negotiations for you. Currently, 97% success rate. And again, as I mentioned, a money-back guarantee. Here's my personal email, my personal phone number, and you're welcome to call me or check out the websites and then call or get started. There's no advantage to waiting, and again, there's no cost to finding out whether or not you qualify.